Good morning. I hope you are good and well. My name is Precious and I'm the heart behind God and Broken Pieces. I come before you today bearing a word from 2 Samuel chapter 1, and we are going to take it from verse 22. And just to give you a little bit of background, we find David in this moment hearing about the death of King Saul and his son Jonathan. King Saul and Jonathan were very dear to King David. At this point, he wasn't yet king. He was still escaping for his life, and there was a lot going on in his life at this point. Here at 2 Samuel chapter 1, we see David being introduced to King Saul when they were in battle, and what King Saul could not do as he was the commander of the army, David, who was a shepherd boy at that time, was able to execute. From that moment, it was clear that what God said to Prophet Samuel, that he has chosen for himself a king, was manifesting, because the anointing that was upon David caused him to overcome what was terrorizing Israel. And from then onward, it became a battle in such a way that King Saul seeked to kill King David. But we see a complication in their relationship, in that Jonathan is kind of like caught up in the middle, because he is the son of King Saul and possibly the one who is next in line to be king, and at the same time he is such a friend to David in such a way that his loyalty to David caused him to choose David over his father, not because of anything other than he was used by God, and he was also a man of character. He was able to see when his father was in the wrong, and God was able to use him in order for him to save David's life. And here David is mourning and crying for them, and verse 22 says, he's talking about, he's just expressing his heart from the loss after hearing about the death of King Saul and his dear friend who had become a brother to him, Jonathan. He says, from the blood of the slain, from the fat of the mighty, the bow of Jonathan turned not back, and the sword of Saul turned not empty. Saul and Jonathan, beloved and lovely, in life and in death they were not divided. They were swifter than eagles, they were stronger than lions. You daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you luxuriously in scarlet, who put ornament of gold on your apparel. How the mighty have fallen, how the mighty have fallen in the midst of the battle. Jonathan lies slain in high places. I am distressed for you, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant have you been to me. Your love to me was extraordinary, surpassing the love of women. How the mighty have fallen, and the weapons of war perished. This really touches me. I can literally feel the pain of David, and he realizes that his journey, or for him to even be there, to even be alive, was because of Jonathan. But at the same time, I just want to highlight the kind of man David was, the respect that he had for people. And what I am learning from this is that people may have hurt us, people may have hurt you, but what is important is to remain upright. And what I mean by that is, listen to how King David, who was not yet king in this moment, he was not yet king, listen to how he is encouraging the people to continue to respect King Saul in his absence. He is not talking about the injustice that King Saul did to him. He is not talking about how he was running for his life because of King Saul. He is not talking about how happy he is that King Saul is dead, because he was not happy that King Saul is dead and therefore he doesn't have to run for his life anymore. I believe that if anything, he was hoping that King Saul will stop pursuing his life and he will see things for what they are and see that he has no intention of winning the hearts people to himself. It's so interesting to see that God really honors the heart. David continues to show us that God was not wrong, not that God will ever be wrong, and not that he needs to prove himself to us. But God spoke about how he looks at the heart more than he looks at what we see. And the heart of David in this chapter shows us that he was not after the throne. He was not looking to dethrone Saul, and he valued the relationships, and he loved Jonathan. And from the Jonathan's perspective, what I learned is that when God has called you to something, he will always place, even if it's one person, who will be there to help you in some way or the other. Some people call them destiny helpers. Jonathan was used by God in order to aid David. There was a communication that they did, that Jonathan said, I'm going to check and make sure that indeed my father seeks to kill you. And if he does, this is how I will send a message to you. And you will know that you need to run for your life. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the sort of like the end of their friendship, because David had to keep running for his life, and he never got back to reunite with Jonathan again until he hears the news that a friend who was like a brother is now dead.
Thank you for watching. Please come back tomorrow for a continuation and a conclusion of this message.